Welcome to episode 6, my story episode 6. This is, well, back from July 2005 to the future beyond where no one has ever gone before. And anyway, here's the story. So to recap, here in July '05, I had just been released from mine jail. My partnership to create a startup company, the old sort of fashioned way to create a people's wireless network, was basically on eternal hiatus as my partners left the venture when I was, declared bipolar. And that was after March, when I was declared to stop drinking. That's when I offered to buy California. And so in the beginning of my story was the big plan. And I scaled it back to the small old-fashioned plan of becoming a startup that became the next what lies beyond Google. And, anyway, following up to the incident in July, I'd written the TV show Bill Starr's The Next Big Things. Is Bill Starr crazy? Or could he have invented the next two big things when not a single man alive could claim more than a third? And, I was starting the story and, creating a fictional character, Bill Starr, just in case it was somehow illegal to buy the world. But I believe that the law is on my side, and only one law, God's law. All of them are the same one, but God's law is on my side because it's perfectly legal for a single man to buy the world for all the people when he's not buying it for himself, which was basically sort of the plan all along. But anyway, so we get to July and I created a story, and already by then, okay, so how do you buy a world? How do you offer 3 to 5 times all the technology companies in the earth? So you imagine this is all of a sudden, imagine 3 to 5 times all the companies are now owned by our enterprise, the people, and now we're going through a massive rearrangement of intellectual property and enterprises to maximize the technology deliverance across the board. But we don't stop with paying 3 to 5 times. We buy 3 to 5 times the gold companies, 3 to 5 times the oil companies, the gas companies, the utilities, the banks, you name it. We buy them all out for a premium and restructure them beyond your mind. In fact, it gets to the point where half of the enterprise, at least, even the public enterprise, we're buying it out, we're canceling out nations, states, and counties. So just imagine half the enterprise that you have around you is now obsolete. No need for things that you accept as, no need for so many lawyers, no need for so many police and jailers, because we bring on Justice Day and create a better world for all of us, and no need for all of the various kinds of unneeded labor, like freaking people plugging bullshit into computers, when people should be able to just buy the right things and only get the right things and get them at the right prices and walk in and out of stores if necessary, or order them online, but all in a safe and secured environment where your satisfaction is our guarantee. What a size of an enterprise with all the enterprise of it. How could you possibly get people to go along with this plan? This first thing is first, second thing is second. Who knows which is which? We'll let you decide. One is, it's the best plan for every human. Or at least call it 99% of all humans alive. It's their best possible available future, bar none. The other part of the story is this, is how do I afford to buy for 3 to 5 times? The other part of the story is we created one infinite bank of infinite money, one single bank of the world, a world owned by us. So in effect, the plan is for the people of Earth to buy themselves out. It amazingly allows us to change the world as we know it. Now, how does the world change as we know it? By the entire structure of this imagineering. That's what it's got to be called, because it's like engineering without the boxes and sort of the surroundings of the paradigms and paradoxes that you know. It's the It's the understanding of what lies beyond if we unleash ourselves with no concept that we are restrained in any other way other than to achieve the best possible result for all of us fast as possible. Well, what happens is you are able to advance the state and the rate of change in technology by, let's say, just one order of magnitude, one factor of 10. You could easily afford to pay 3 to 5 times for the companies. If you just triple the business in the world, you could easily afford to pay 3 to 5 times. But going up 100%, going up 10 times is like, well, that 10 times is 1,000%. It's like going up 10 times. It would be a crime not to buy the companies out in advance. So in a way, the plan to buy the world is the plan to make the world faster and more valuable. And I dedicated that plan and all of my ideas back to the people. And so in a way, all of my ideas and myself became a charitable enterprise owned by the people. In fact, I'm not even owned by myself in this plan. I'm simply talent in the show. And so that gets weird, because if you're simply talent, I'm working for the people, which would have been my worst nightmare if it wasn't working for the people by choice and working for them on the plan, the master plan, to create a world new order of capitalism and communism under God. Don't get all freaked out about either of those terms, or, well, any one of the terms. Don't get freaked out about capitalism, because capitalism is good, and God was definitely a capitalist. But, well, Jesus was probably the first communist around, but that's really not the point. If you don't grow the wealth of the people at the bottom, you don't grow the wealth of the people at the top. It's the fountain, the pyramid of wealth. It's the recognition that rising the boats of all the people can rise the boats of all. And so, how do you win the hearts and minds of those who have everything, power and wealth? You give them more wealth, but they don't need it, because you treat them kings in our new world, and you make them founding fathers of the future of Earth. Will they remember your name in 1,000 years? Not in your reality, but in 999 years. They will remember the names of the founding fathers and mothers, and their children, and their children's children. We will remember the names of the pyramid of people that we created from the time we chose to embrace justice and peace on earth for all, that we chose to turn our swords into plowshares for peace upon earth, that we chose to listen to one crazy mind that dared rebuke many people and dared judge among all nations. But that's the story I must play. I was designed to play, or I chose to play. You choose. But that's the story I've been playing for 7 years. And, well, you gave me the bully pulpit when I didn't need to imagine in the future. Well, within the construct of your own, then it just really becomes, could I really engender a conspiracy with your top, what I called my board of angels, your board of angels, our board of angels, 10 business bones, 7 political heads. I didn't name any political heads. The politics follows the business. They're no more than salesmen for the enterprise in the future. And they listen to the people to give us their comment, but not to find out what they want to tell you. Because we tell you what we want to tell you. We tell you based on the truth. We'll give you all of the information that we choose, which is most of the information, except that which you may not want to really know. And, well, there's probably lots of shit going around in the world that you don't need to know. In fact, probably most of it's 90% of the contents on your freaking news channels. Stuff we don't really need to know. Lies made up we don't need to know about. But you build your future based on a reflection of your own lies, based on a reflection of your own bad channels. Do you think that you will program your children with the amalgam of bullshit in the wild, wild west of your internet? What are you doing? What are you thinking? We have no choice but control this thing we call the internet, and control it for all people, but not to restrict free speech, but to open it, but to protect and safeguard everybody against speech they don't really need to see or hear. But that's the paradigm of paradoxes that the internet is. But anyway, back to the story. So I chose 10 business bills, and well, they weren't necessarily chosen, and my political head at the time was Hu Jintao, just so you'd count the numbers I had with one political head, a quarter of the people on Earth, with one choice of one political head, well, and maybe arguably the best current capitalist on the planet, and so, well then we chose the board with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. But Bill was relegated to rolling up a monopoly of all charities on Earth, and all churches, charities too. Well, and then of course we would eventually have a council of God, with representatives of all possible religions, but led by the leaders, from the Pope to Sistani, led by the leaders of the religion, to calculate, does God want man to create peace on earth, or wait for him to be saved by God? If man can create his own judgment day and peace on earth, should man be allowed, should man not only be compelled by the prophecy of all your Bibles to create such a heaven on earth if it's available to him? That's a primary choice. That's a sort of a biblical choice. That's why I said 10 business bills and 7 political heads, because you couldn't possibly explain a plan to buy the world, and a construct from moving from where we are today to where we will be in the future for 19 or 99 or 1,000 years. The only construct you'll ultimately understand it is that you had faith in this vision from the beginning, but it's slightly different than your vision, because it's the vision of mankind becoming intelligent, learning that we are intelligently designed to choose our own freedom of choice, and to choose peace on earth, to choose working together in one enterprise with no politics or nations, to prove that we can build to eternity and beyond. But anyway, so the point was this. Along with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and the Google guys, Larry Ellison, you name them, just imagine them all rolling and rocking with the technology industry, with what we can do, and advancing the state no less than 19 years in a single 5-year period, more like 99. But when you unleash the power of the world's enterprises with our defense industries taken to peacetime uses, you actually allow us in 5 years to easily achieve 99 years of advance, if not 999 years of advance. Give it 7 years. You're way beyond anything you know on Star Trek. You're way beyond your minds. You can't even write this shit in Hollywood. It's so far beyond you. But the point is also, half of you are out of jobs. So what do? Well, guess what? We can return. We can afford. In fact, we can't not afford to retire you out. We can afford to create a future someday where everybody is financially retired on a stipend by the time they're 19. Why? Because it's cheaper to retire people on a stipend than run a jail system to try to jail them while they starve to death on the streets. It's, well, much cheaper to run an enterprise built on the foundation of serving Maslow's pyramid for all people, guaranteeing satisfaction in life and liberty and happiness to all people on the planet. It's much more when we can build a future rather than watch us fall apart at the heart of war. War practiced in the battlefields, war practiced in the boardrooms, in the bedrooms, in the family rooms. War that permeates our entire culture. War that must be ended. War that once ended will allow our enterprise to grow beyond your imagination. What you can't afford to build today, we can afford to build faster now. One Dubai Tower you can't afford, we need 1,000 times that number all over the earth. How can we afford it? How can we not afford it? With the palaces and castles we build, because there are sets in a movie, a reality movie, where your life is captured from the moment you begin to live, with your own private moments to yourself, but the public moments in public domain. Your life is part of a reality story of all of us.